Hi! Today we are going to be talking about voiceover work. Thank you RPAA for having me. There are many different types of voiceover work. There's advertising, and that's where I get my bread and butter. That's the most frequent type of work that I do. There are also animation and TV shows. There's movies and documentaries. There are audiobooks, video games, radio. A lot of human beings lend their voices to make stories come to life or help sell a product or teach us about the world that we live in. And these people are voiceover artists. I'm Grey Garrett and I'm one of them. I go into a soundproof room with headphones and a microphone and I talk for a living. It sounds easy, but it's not actually as easy as it sounds. There are many different ways to be a voiceover artist. You can work at home or be hired by a studio. You can do cartoons, commercials, but most of these people have some kind of a background in performance. I know I do. It certainly helps a lot in this field. Now, while there are definitely some technical things that make voice acting what it is, a lot of what you need to be successful is very simple to understand, and it can be used in all areas of life. For example, punctuality. Being on time is absolutely essential. And in our world, being on time is 5 to 15 minutes early. Aim for 15. Usually the clients hiring the voice talent are scheduled, they schedule booking sessions throughout the day. So they will pay a studio for the amount of time they think a job should take. And if the voiceover artist is late, it can cost the clients more money and mess up the schedule for all the other appointments the studio has to record that day. What that ends up resulting in is that the voiceover talent doesn't get called again. And so that's no good for anyone. So be on time. Emergencies do still happen. So in that instance, just call the studio and let them know. Another big one is be confident in yourself and build genuine relationships. Especially locally, that's kind of how you build your business. When you walk into a room for a job or an audition or a Zoom these days, go ahead and tell yourself that everyone already likes you. That way you can relax and do a great job. You are the only one of you that there is, and perfection is truly unattainable. So as long as you do the best that you're able to do at that time and place, that's all anyone can ever ask of you. There are a few things that you shouldn't do. Most of the stuff that would annoy your teachers is probably on the do not do list at a voiceover session. So, a lot of excessive fidgeting or being closed off or scowling or not making eye contact, even chewing gum. In fact, especially chewing gum. So just some things to look out for. Another thing you have to think about with this job is your schedule and your availability. So most voiceovers happen, from 9 to 5. And if you have school from 8 to 3:30, well, can this realistically work? Or do your parents have time to help you with this? Usually the turnaround on a job is very quick. Like I'll get a call and I need to be in the studio that day or the next day. Sometimes there's a little bit of flexibility, but not usually. Another big thing, and this goes for doing anything new, is you need to manage expectations. Breaking into any field is very slow moving. And nobody is great at nobody is great at something right away. So have other things that you're interested in, or be working on what you can improve on while you explore what you're passionate about. With voiceovers, getting involved in improv or community theater is a great place to start. So say that's all going great and you get the job. Well, there's still some more things to think about. You need to think about your preparation. A lot of these sessions, they take place very early. So how alert do you think the voice is when it's early? Can you wake up 20 minutes before, just roll out of bed and go? You probably shouldn't. So your vocal cords and your sinuses have been pretty horizontal during the night, and anything that has drained down or come up is just sitting there. And phlegm is sticky. Gross, right? Essentially you wake up with boogers on your vocal cords. Ugh. So what do? Well, you give yourself a reasonable amount of time to wake up and get ready. For me, that is 2 hours before I need to be there, sometimes 3. It gives me enough time to feel energized, awake, feel like my voice is warm, but different things work for different people. You have to kind of find that. Be safe though. Another thing is drink water. That is, when I first wake up, the first thing I do is drink 2 to 3 glasses of water. They say that some studies say that it can take 24 hours for the water that you drink to fully hydrate your body. Other studies say 4. Whatever it is, try to give yourself enough time to let the water get to where it needs to go so that you have enough for your vocal cords to be hydrated. Another thing you need to do is eat breakfast. And that's not just for your health, although also for your health. But if you're hungry, the microphones in a session are so sensitive that they can actually hear your stomach growling, and that interrupts the session. It's also just embarrassing for everyone. So eat breakfast. Another thing you need to do is just stretch. Stretch your neck and stretch your arms and your legs and touch your toes. And this starts waking your body up. Shower, not just so you'll smell pretty, but all that warm water is going to be what gets in there and helps clear out some of those throat boogers that we talked about. Another thing, of course, hopefully you're going to wear clothes. That sounds silly. And yes, you'll be wearing clothes. My gosh. But the important thing about the clothing that you choose is that it doesn't make noise. So don't use windsuits or fabrics that rub together, or jewelry that clinks, or shoes that squeak. So the next thing I want to show you are some vocal exercises. So what we're going to do is stretch the face. So this first exercise is called Lion Lemon. And it's going to look really silly. In fact, just me doing it on camera just makes me much rather do it where you can't see. So everybody put your little lion paws up. I do this with all my students, and we're going to make a lion face, like big lion growl, and then we're going to make a lemon face, like we just squeezed a lemon. So the first one is lion, and the second one is lemon. So you go lion, lemon, lion, lemon. Pretty silly looking, but these do work, and as an adult, I still do the same ones. Another one that I do is I hum. I just start humming, and I still do children's songs. So, row, row, row your boat. Just like, Next, I'll kind of chew them. Like I'll be like, then we'll do just some lip trills, and you just lip trills are where you blow your lips. So row, row, row your boat. And that kind of gets your mouth, and it warms up the mask of your face so that your voice starts to sound a little warmer. The next thing, they're super fun to do, but they're also super helpful, and they help you build the strength in your mouth that you need to wrap around the words. And they also help with this brain to mouth coordination for reading scripts really fast. But tongue twisters, I cannot express enough how helpful tongue twisters are for voiceover work. So just a few favorites. Of course, there's She Sells Seashells by the Seashore. Unique New York. Just Unique New York, Unique New York, Unique New York. Red Leather, Yellow Leather. Blue black bugs bleed blue black blood, but baby black bugs bleed blue. What a to do to die today, a minute or two till 2. A thing distinctly hard to say, but harder still to do. The list goes on, and if you you can Google all sorts of different tongue twisters, or I'm sure your parents maybe know a few, and you should play card games with them with your family or your friends and see who can do them the fastest and still say the actual words. And that's how you kind of get that vocal strength. Another thing that you think of, we call it vocal kind of hygiene, just to take care of your voice. Again, I cannot express enough. Hydration. I mean, I drink 6 to 8 glasses of water per day, and room temperature is best. The other thing you want to do is avoid irritants. So the reason I say room temperature is best is because cold water or really, really hot water can burn your throat or burn your vocal cords, and that's not very good for speaking. Very cold air conditioning, or if you spend a lot of time outside in the winter, that can be irritating to the voice. Hotel rooms. Hotel rooms are very dry, or I don't know, somewhere. Gosh, I'm trying to think off the top of my head, another like really dry place. But if you're in a room that's really dusty or you've been up in the attic inhaling a lot of things, that's not great for the voice if you're going to be speaking a lot in any situation. If your parents have just cleaned the bathroom or used any chemicals or cleaning products, the kind of stuff isn't good for the voice to breathe in. So just try to avoid those things. Also, certain food or drink or medications can have negative effects on the voice. So like caffeine in soda, and soda just in general, not very good for the voice. Chocolate, I know, I love it too. Dairy, salt, harsh spicy foods, delicious greasy foods. None of that is all that great for your speaking voice. Which is something that you need to be really aware of if you do want to go into voiceover work. Sometimes you gotta diet, or not diet, you have to watch your diet for the health of your voice. Not for your weight, but for the health of your voice. There's also drying medications, like cough medicine or aspirin can dry you out. But the other thing with medication, of course, if you need that medicine for your health, that is the most important thing. So don't just stop taking something because you think it's gonna dry you out. Just drink more water. Avoid your throat clearing and coughing. So if you can, I'm going to do an example, but I try not to. But if you want to go, it's not very good for your voice. And coughing really hard, that's not great for you either. So the remedy is to try to swallow or, drink a little bit of water. Another thing, don't Kardashian. That's what I call it. It's not copyrighted, but I'm talking about, it's called a glottal stop. And I'm going to do also an example, but please don't do it. A lot of people though are talking like this, and it comes from the Kardashian family. And it's this way of talking where you kind of talk like with your voice in the back of the throat, and it's grinding. Well, this is not the way to talk. Try to put the voice, it's called kind of your center pitch, and it just floats on air kind of naturally. So yeah, that's a good thing to do. Also, sometimes if you're going to be talking a lot, you need to conserve your voice. General good health, balanced diet, exercise, plenty of rest, water, these are all givens for a healthy voice, just like a healthy life. On days where talking is unavoidable, try to designate a quiet time. So even if you have been talking a lot, maybe just set aside 30 minutes where you're just quiet or you don't talk. If you really need to, then we call it vocal rest, and you don't talk at all for a little while things are healing. If you're going to a loud restaurant or like a theme park or someplace where you're going to be talking over loud noises, just try to avoid screaming and shouting. Try to avoid screaming and shouting in general. Okay, so now let's say you arrive at your job and you get a script you've never seen before and you have to read and perform it cold. No time to practice. What can you do to prepare for that? Practice reading out loud. Everything, anything. Magazines, books, stories, plays, billboards. Practice cold reading or reading out loud from text without rehearsal, study, or practice in advance. That's the definition. That's going to help you make this brain to mouth coordination that you need for voiceovers. It's going to help you get really good at giving your reading some vocal dynamics. So let's talk about that for a second. So vocal dynamics. Think about the cadence of your voice or the inflection that you use. Like, let's say a sentence like, my mom went to the bank. Well, we could give that kind of a rhythm, like, my mom went to the bank. Or no cadence, where we just straight tone it, like, my mom went to the bank. We can highlight kind of some key words in there to kind of make it a little bit more interesting. Like maybe we'll say mom or bank. My mom went to the bank. We can smile as we read it, and believe it or not, a microphone will pick up whether or not you're smiling. So my mom went to the bank. You can even hear it. You can hear that I'm smiling in my voice. Another thing to work on, and this is where your tongue twisters will again come in so handy because you'll have that strength, is speed. Sometimes you get a script and it has to be done within 30 seconds or a minute, but it's very long and sizable. So you need to be able to have the mouth strength to be able to adjust the speed of what you're reading so that it fits for the job that you're doing. Another tip that I like to give, kind of going back to this glottal, is use your real voice. Some people like to come in and think, oh, I want to do accents and funny voices, but really most of the time what they want is your real voice. And accents are very, there's so many different dialects and regions and different types of places that if you haven't actually been taught to do one, or unless it's yours naturally, I wouldn't. It can come across kind of generic or making fun. So in voiceover work, at least, unless you're specifically asked, you kind of want to just use your real voice. Maybe have some fun ones on hand if for some reason they ask. So then let's see. Okay. You get this script. Some things to think about are, well, you read the script, and the first question I would want any student of mine to ask is, who am I? Who is this person? Is this, a woman in her early teens, late teens, mid-20s, 30s, 40s? Is this an anxious person? Is this a person in a hurry? Is this person a mother, not a mother? Is this person selfish, not selfish? Any question that you can use to try and figure out who the person is that you are trying to become in this job. Another thing that's important, where are you? Are you in a busy supermarket? Are you in Australia? Are you somewhere that would affect how you're speaking? Are you, somewhere where it's loud? Are you somewhere where you need to be quiet? Just, things to ask, like, where are you? Also, when are you? Is this a different time period? Or is it morning or night? Sometimes those things will make a difference. Other times not. Another huge one, who are you talking to? So that I think is really important. Who are you talking to can give life to the script that you're reading, because it almost makes it feel like you're having a much more genuine conversation when it's connected to someone. So I actually like to know in the script, like, who does say I'm talking to in the script? Am I talking to my husband? Am I talking to my child? Am I talking to my friend? And then I also say, in real life, who do I think this person would be for me? Would this be my real sister? Would this be my real friend? Who is this person? If I can relate who I'm talking to a real genuine person, it usually makes my voice come across, well, more genuine. Another thing that can help, what does your character want? So sometimes I get, I'll do a lot of young nurse, and healthcare is very big in general. And typically as a young nurse, what I want is for the people entrusting me with the care of their loved one to feel safe. And so that just knowing that that's what I want can help my words. So I hope that you all have found this very fascinating. It's been wonderful to be invited to do this. If you have any interest in pursuing this or trying it, there are all sorts of local resources. I haven't endorsed anything. I do know that VoiceOver Virginia can be a great place for a jumping off point, but again, nothing endorsed. And if you need more resources, just reach out through RPAA. Thank you again so much for having me. Again, I'm Grey Garrett. All right, bye-bye.